Hey, what's up, guys? It's Moogalore here, and today I want to talk about Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. And I really missed the game. I want to be honest with you guys. Like, I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point. I know about a year ago I did a video about Dissidia Final Fantasy NT and its wasted potential. If you guys are interested in checking that out, it's still gaining views and people are still commenting on it and everything. So there is a group of people out there that feel the same way I feel about Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. So before we dive into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell to stay up to date for more gaming content here on the channel. So let's dive right into it, because Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, I truly love this game, man. And the best aspect about this game was the team dynamic that they had going for it. Now, I know a lot of people may disagree with it. I know a lot of people who played the PSP version loved the 1v1 aspect, the extreme customization that they had for it and everything. But me personally, I love the team aspect because it gave me an opportunity and a chance to actually play and have quality time with my brothers when it came to the game. The three of us love Final Fantasy, Kyo, Strike, and myself. We love Final Fantasy, so it just only made sense to also make it a 3v3, so the three of us can play together and pick our favorite Final Fantasy characters. And that's where the game truly shined, and I could see where the criticism came from when it came to the team aspect, because not everybody was fortunate to be able to have siblings they could be able to play with, or someone that have interest in Dissidia Final Fantasy to get together and say, hey, we're going to be an official team, or we're going to be a team, and we're going to go online and play against other players. So more people had more of a crappy experience playing this game because they either paired up with bots or they just paired up with random players who don't communicate at all. So I can understand why many people didn't enjoy the team aspect. To me, that was the strongest part of the game, and the game really shined when you did get a working team. And also, the netcode, of course, held the game back a whole lot. But when the netcode did work, the game was actually fun. And I think this is the most I've ever had, the most fun I've ever had in a long time when it came to a multiplayer competitive game. I really had a ton of hype moments, and it was times where we just stayed up and played the game for 8 hours straight. And you guys already seen on the live streams, I talked about it before. Live streams, y'all seen us play Dissidia Final Fantasy, where we just had pure on hype playing the game, because we had a bunch of clutch moments. And the thing was, we weren't that good at the game, but the fact is that we was able to play together and actually get into these moments and these scenarios against other players online, where we was actually pulling in these clutch moments that really had us extremely hyped, you know. And then, of course, as I said before, I believe that if Square Enix and Koei Tecmo Games had pretty much taken the game a bit more serious as far as its audience is concerned, and gave the players much more things that they could possibly do outside of the competitive play. And I think instead of them aiming for competitive play, they should have focused more on the single player aspect as well, to get players to constantly keep going and playing the game, while people who really wanted to get into the competitive aspect can, you know, farther push into that area or whatever. I think it needed a nice balance. But I think, to me, Square Enix, in my personal opinion, relied so heavily on the brand name of Final Fantasy that was going to sell it alone. And I just think that that's what really killed off the game, in my personal opinion. And the fact is that they had no respect for the Western audience as well, because any update that they did have for the game, it only been released to the Japanese audience, and we had to wait for a translator to translate what the new patches and the new nerfs and what the buffs were in the game. And I just think that was like the poorest decision they could possibly do. But when it came to the game, man, positioning and knowing your characters' strengths and weaknesses, and also preparing your character loadouts and actually communicating with your partners, and, you know, when it came to their loadouts and how well they complement each other. And I think that the class system that they had, the Vanguard, Specialist, Assassin, and Marksman, I think that was also a pretty neat thing they did, because it's pretty much like a hero, I guess you could say a hero competitive game, or a class-based competitive game, as you would see in Overwatch and you would see in League of Legends and Dota and everything. And I think it could have worked if they really would have put their mind to it and actually work a lot of this stuff out. And I just loved it, because I'm actually able to play a role. And when it comes to competitive games, 1v1 is not really my type of thing. I'm like 1v1 really pressures me. I feel so pressured playing in 1v1 scenarios. But when it comes to team-based, hero-based type games, you know, I'm just filling in a role. And my goal is just to be the best damn person for that role for my team. So we all complementing each other. We all formulating that synergy together to make an awesome team that, you know, that will prevail through any online match against other opponents. So that's what I enjoyed about it most. And when it comes to the characters, I had a character for each. I think I had a character for each class. I know Vanguard, I had Cloud for sure, and I think for Assassin I had Lightning. Specialist I had Ramza, and I don't think I had a marksman at all. I don't think I played any marksman. No, I don't think I played any marksman. And I did play Zidane. He was my assassin as well. And these are the characters that I more so stayed with. I think the most fun character, I think to me, the two most fun characters I had, and shockingly it's not Cloud, it was Lightning, and I like Ramza. He's able to take stones. He can throw them at the opponents. He also had abilities that allows you to put stat buffs on your teammates to help them during battle and stuff. So I more so played the background while my brothers go out and do most of the tanking and fighting and stuff, while I go back and I just apply pressure through support. And every once in a while I would creep in there and use my special abilities to take out the opponent as well. And every time we did switch up classes, we always had a class to complement each other. So if I did go Specialist, then Kill would go Vanguard, and then DX Strike would go either a Specialist or an Assassin himself. And that's how we always switch things up. Lightning I had a lot of fun with, because Lightning, she can switch her different class styles. She can go Ravager just like her game, Sentinel and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. And her combos are just sick. I love her speed, and then I love the special to where she throws her razor disc around, and I think that was pretty cool. So we got into scenarios to where my brothers and them will apply pressure on the enemy while they in the corner or they backed against the wall, and I just throw it into the crowd and it just hits everybody. And I just thought that was pretty sick. And as far as opponents that we had, I couldn't stand fighting. I think Vaughn was like really annoying, because him being a specialist, he had a lot of abilities that was just annoying to deal with. And my brother DX Strike, he used Vaughn, so he knew exactly how to approach every time we did go against those type of players. And then the one match that I do remember, because it reminded me something from Average Children, I was fighting, I was using Cloud, and this chick that I played that I met off of Facebook, and she was a Sephiroth player. I mean, she's a Sephiroth fanatic, and she was really good at the game. I mean, she was beating my ass with her Sephiroth. She just had me in the corner just applying crazy pressure, and I just thought it was pretty cool, because it reminded me something from Average Children when Sephiroth was just going in, just rushing down Cloud. All Cloud could do was just block, and that's how I felt when I was playing against her. But her Cloud was just freaking nasty, man. And of course, I love the stage where you play from Final Fantasy, was it Act 0, at the garden stage or whatever. We had pretty good matches there, especially when I was with Ramza and I'm just there. And like I said, clutch moments are the best part of this game. It's because it was a time where the opponent, man, we was down. We had one stock left, and we didn't take anything from these guys. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what we were doing, but out of nowhere, we actually brought that back. We brought them down to one stock with us, and we almost took it home. And even though we lost that match, we were proud of that match, because this team was actually pretty good, because we couldn't do nothing to these guys. But for some strange reason, I don't know what we did, man, but our team, we got our teamwork. We just worked even harder, and we took them down to one stock along ours. And I think my brother got caught at the last minute, but we was seriously about to win that. But even though we lost, we was pretty proud of that match, because we was not expecting to win that, because that team, those guys were really good. And we pretty much had like a second family, because most of the time we played players from this Facebook group, I think it was called Dissidia Final Fantasy International, and they was a pretty good group. I don't know what they're up to now because not on Facebook. I deactivated my Facebook account, but we did get some pretty good matches off of there. But when it came to Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, man, I just wish that the developers would have just took care of the game and took the game much more seriously, and gave the fans what they want, but also at the same time made a pretty, competitive, competent game that should have still been that could be on a sequel right now, or still being updated with characters. I think Square Enix and Koei Tecmo had put more emphasis, and this is what I think where it did, like where DOA 6 was like, where DOA 6 focused more on DLC and microtransactions than the game itself. And I think that's what the CEO of Final Fantasy NT, it seemed like that behavior that Koei Tecmo had with their Law 6 also plagued the game, because if more people say, yo, like, fix the game netcode, or fix this, or balance that, why you keep giving us more DLC weapons, DLC costumes, and giving us more DLC tracks to use our microtransactions to purchase this stuff, instead of just fixing the game and giving us the characters that we want. I think if they would have just respected the fans a bit more when it came to that, in regards to that, and also fixed the things that people had issues with, the game the game should have been a home run. Like, you have a game with all the Final Fantasy characters, Final Fantasy heroes and villains, all in one game. This should have been a slam dunk. There's no way this game should have failed. But leave it to Square Enix, and Koei Tecmo Games. They said, hold my beer, watch us ruin this game when it comes to see Final Fantasy NT. Now, I understand that people wanted the customizations, but the route they were going with this game, having a crap ton of customization wouldn't work in a competitive environment. You need everything to be as streamlined as possible in order because remember, it's created in arcade first, so you have to be able to go into arcade and have everything available, for your characters right there at the start. But they could at least had another mode that was more specifically more geared towards what we have enjoyed with the Dissidia Final Fantasy games on the PSP. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I enjoyed the PSP versions of the Dissidia games, but I was bored of them at the same time, because one, I didn't know, most people that I knew didn't own the PSP and didn't even own and the ones that did own the PSP didn't own Dissidia Final Fantasy at all. So after a while I got bored of the game once I finished the game. And yes, I had a ton of customizations, but to me, I had the mentality to say, what's the point of having all these different builds for characters where I can't even test these builds out against other players, So after a while, I just didn't care for the game, for the PSP. I completed the game and completed the story, and I was just pretty much done with the game. So NT pretty much changed that, by just making it a fighting game, making it a competitive fighting game, and a team base where I'm able to just play against other players with my favorite Final Fantasy characters. And I really did enjoy that aspect. And it's just a shame that the game is no longer a thing, and it's a shame that the mobile game, was it Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera? I think Opera or Opera, whatever it's called. That game is what people wanted from a Dissidia Final Fantasy game, more of that fan service, which I was all for too. I think they dropped the ball with the story, and with the fan service, there should have been a lot of dream match scenarios or dream scenarios with how the Final Fantasy characters interact with one another. They didn't take advantage of that as well. I think they would have pushed more emphasis on the interaction between characters and fan service. I think people would have forgiven the other aspects to Final Fantasy, the Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. But man, that game was I just loved it, man. It's just a shame that it's no longer here, and hopefully Square Enix learned their lesson from it. And I would love for them to return to Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. And I think them returning to it, I think they should give the fans a bit of everything. Give the people that single player fan service with the story and stuff, customization for the single player, or for I guess you say matchmaking, custom rules matchmaking for people who want to play around with that and do 1v1s. And then for the competitive aspect, keep the team based with the classes and stuff like that. And I think you will have a working formula there. But that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to just talk more about the Dissidia Final Fantasy NT and how much I really enjoyed that game. I really missed it. I really love for that game or that series to return sometime in the near future. I think they can actually get something going. And if they don't do Dissidia NT, I would love for them to do a Square Enix fighting game that's like NT, but with a bunch of other Square Enix properties thrown in the mix. I think that'll also be pretty cool too. So what are your thoughts in the comment section below? What do you think about Final Fantasy NT? Did you enjoy the game? What parts that you loved about the game? What parts that you hate about it? What do you think they could have done to save this game? And what do you think they could do for a potential sequel or a reboot of the series in the near future? Definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel, because it definitely helped me out here on this algorithm. This is Mugen Lord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.